The Harrison family finally found their biological son. In an instant, everything in the house belonged to him. He pointed a finger at the wealth, the status, the legacy. Can I have this too? He asked. As the adopted son, I looked behind me, expecting him to be pointing at a luxury car or a piece of art. There was nothing there. Suddenly, a head buried itself in my chest, and a brilliant, predatory smile flashed. I want my brother. The warmth in my arms caught me completely off guard. Caleb Harrison was the real deal. 3 DNA tests, all confirmed. He was a boy of 16 or 17 with an incredibly beautiful face. His eyes were wide and round, brimming with a sort of frantic joy, like a pampered pet or a desperate stray. He looked both adorable and pitiful. He was too thin. His fragile arms were visible beneath his worn-out clothes as he locked them tightly around my waist. His voice was crisp. He blinked at me. I want my brother. Is that okay? Every eye in the room turned toward us. The maids, the butler, the driver who brought him home, the doctor who had just finished his exam, and my adoptive parents. My parents' hands were shaking as they clutched each other, tears streaming down their faces. They shared a silent look of immense relief. So did I. I was the stray they picked up from an orphanage while they were searching for Caleb. Before he arrived today, they had been whispering in the study. They were terrified Caleb would resent me, that he'd be angry that a stranger had enjoyed the life, the love, and the luxury that was rightfully his for 16 years. I was nervous too. I was terrified he'd hate me. I knew exactly how much my parents loved him. They never stopped looking. They kept his faded baby clothes like holy relics. Even my name, Julian, was a derivative of the name they had picked for him. A constant reminder of who I was supposed to represent. My hand slowly dropped, touching his bony back. The doctor said he was malnourished. He hadn't had an easy life out there. A wave of guilt washed over me, melting into a protective softness. He had accepted me. I rested my hand on his head. Okay, that's fine. As long as he wanted me to be, I would be his brother. Caleb's eyes lit up with pure delight. He grabbed my hand, but when our parents tried to step closer with tearful eyes, he shrank back, tucking himself behind my shoulder. Sweetheart, come to mom. Let me look at you. My mother stepped forward, her voice trembling. Caleb tilted his head, looking at me for permission, then moved half a step further behind me. My parents looked at me, pleading. If they weren't so afraid of scaring him, they would have tackled him into a hug by now. I squeezed his fingers. These are your parents. They've been looking for you forever. They love you so much, and they've missed you every single day. They've been waiting for you to come home. I gave him an encouraging look. Caleb let out a soft, shy mumble. Dad, Mom. They couldn't hold back anymore. They rushed forward, pulling him into a desperate embrace. The whole family treated Caleb like royalty, but Caleb only cared about me. He followed me everywhere. He insisted on sleeping in my room. He said the house felt too big, that he was scared someone would jump out and hurt him in the dark. Watching his teary eyes, I had no choice but to add an extra bed to my room. He only listened to me. He would eat his balanced, albeit bland, nutritional meals without a fuss as long as I told him to. Afterward, he'd bring the empty plate to me like a gold retriever. Julian, I finished it all. Was I good? I'd tell him he was a good boy and reward him with a pat on the head. My parents were baffled by his obsession with me. Honestly, I was too. When I finally asked him why he liked me so much, his brow furrowed slightly. You really don't remember me, do you? Caleb said we had met twice before, at a foster care center. I had been there as a donor. You gave me 6 pieces of candy. You told me you'd come back for me. You remember now? He looked at me with expectant eyes. You used to come every 3 years. I waited for you. By my count, I wasn't supposed to see you for another year. To be honest, I didn't remember. I had been visiting orphanages and foster centers since I was old enough to use my allowance. I had seen too many kids, too many faces, too many eyes begging for a way out. But Caleb was waiting for an answer. I traced his gaze and faked a look of realization. Wait, the kid who looked the cleanest and most handsome in the crowd? That was you? Caleb dived into my arms, his voice muffled against my chest. Yeah, that was me. After that, he became even more inseparable from me. Julian, Julian, Julian. He called my name incessantly until he turned 19. He was a sophomore in college now, and by all accounts, a good kid. This morning, as I dropped him off at campus, he was sipping milk and smiling. Julian, pick me up after class. I booked a table at that bistro you like. If you're busy, it's fine. I can go with friends. He was sweet, obedient, and understanding. Or so I thought. By noon, I was summoned to the dean's office. The teacher told me Caleb had put a classmate in the hospital. I thought I'd misheard. Who beat up whom? Mr. Harrison, are you listening? I took a deep breath. Where is Caleb? I looked around the office. He wasn't there. Only the other students' parents were there, screaming their heads off. I don't care what the reason was. Violence is never the answer. He sent my son to the ER. The teacher tried to mediate. Please, calm down. Let's look at the security footage first. Caleb is in the infirmary getting his own wounds treated. Caleb was hurt? My heart skipped a beat. How bad was it? Why is their kid sent to a major hospital while my brother is just in the infirmary? I snapped, my protective instincts flaring. Everyone shut up and watch the video. The teacher yelled. In the footage, Caleb threw the first punch, but the other guy started it. He was huddled with a group of boys, looking smug. Caleb Harrison is a joke, the kid said. Complete idiot. That adopted brother of his has already stripped the estate clean, and Caleb is just sitting there playing house. He laughed. The big brother probably isn't even adopted. I bet he's a bastard the old man had on the side, just waiting to kick Caleb out. Caleb didn't say a word. He kicked the kid's legs out from under him and landed a heavy fist right on his mouth. What followed was 5 minutes of pure, calculated violence. Caleb's face was stone cold. He didn't blink even when he took a hit to the jaw. He didn't stop until security pulled him off. Well, the teacher looked at us. I looked at the scummy kid's parents. He has a big mouth. He deserved it. How dare you? The mediation failed immediately. On the car ride home, Caleb kept stealing glances at me. His eyes turned red, like a cornered rabbit. Julian, I'm sorry. I wasn't a saint. I knew there were people in this world who deserved a punch in the face, but I had never been a fighter myself. The kid in the video had clearly targeted Caleb because his family had lost a contract to Harrison Global recently. I looked at the bruise forming on Caleb's jaw. I tried to look stern. What are you sorry for? He pouted. I don't think I was wrong. I fought back a smile. He was insulting you, Caleb. No. Caleb hissed, his eyes flashing with fire. He was insulting you. I won't let anyone say that garbage about you. I froze. He fought because of me? Caleb kept talking, his voice filled with indignation. But when he noticed me staring, he quickly reverted to his good boy persona, grabbing my arm. Julian, don't be mad. If someone bullies you again, I'll still fight them. He raised his fist, showing his bruised knuckles. My heart ached, partly because of his words, partly because of the injury. I touched his hand gently. Does it hurt? He blinked, suddenly sounding like a child again. It hurts like hell. Blow on it for me? The moment we walked through the front door, our parents swarmed us. They pushed past me to get to Caleb. sweetheart, what happened? Julian said you fought someone, but look at your face. Did you go to the hospital? Look at this bruise. Is your tooth okay? I'm calling the family doctor right now. My father reached for his phone. Caleb snatched it away. I'm fine. It doesn't even hurt. He started bragging about how badly he thrashed the other guy, making our parents laugh in relief. The three of them stood there, their silhouettes so similar. They looked like a real family. Caleb had inherited all their best traits, striking features, a radiant, sunny energy. He was like the sun. I looked at my own reflection in the glass cabinet. My features were paler, more reserved. Someone once said that in the Harrison house, Caleb was the sun and I was the moon. When the sun comes out, the moon vanishes. Nobody looks for the moon when the sun is shining. A bitter seed of loneliness sprouted in my chest. They were the family. What right did I have to feel disappointed?
Mom only brought me home because she made a mistake. She thought I was Caleb. She had found me near an old park, saw a dark mark on my arm and threw herself at me, her beautiful dress getting covered in dirt. Baby, my baby, I was brought to the mansion. She bathed me, sang to me, fed me and bought me everything. She apologized over and over, saying it was her fault for letting the nanny snatch me away. Her hugs were warm, her tears were hot and her love was suffocatingly bright. I called her Mom. She trembled with joy, but my birthmark started to fade. It wasn't a birthmark, it was just a stubborn ink stain from an art project at the orphanage. Mom refused to believe it. She wouldn't even let them do a DNA test at first, she was so afraid of losing me again. Then Dad came home. He did the investigation. I wasn't 4 years old like Caleb was supposed to be, I was 6, I was just malnourished and small. The DNA test confirmed it. I woke up from a nap one day and heard Mom crying. They were discussing finding someone to adopt me properly. I didn't want to leave, I ran out and grabbed her leg. Be good, I'll eat less, I'll do whatever you want, please don't throw me away. I stayed, I became Julian Harrison, but Mom never called me baby again, I was just Julian. Dad focused on the company, and Mom went back to the road, searching for her real son. I stayed in the beautiful house, waiting for them to come back, learning that only good boys get to stay. Caleb usually went to bed earlier than me. I was already working at Harrison Global, often staying up late to check reports. Mom would slip into the room to tuck Caleb in. She'd look at his sleeping face with such overwhelming love, then lean down to kiss his forehead. I saw it once and my heart longed for it so much it hurt. One night I went to bed early on purpose. I waited. I felt her tuck Caleb in and kiss him. Then she turned and walked toward my bed. I peeked through my lashes. She looked like an angel in the moonlight. She tucked my covers in, making sure my feet weren't peeking out, and then she turned and left. She didn't kiss me. I'm going to the study to finish some work, I said to my parents. Mom was busy fussing over Caleb. That family had the nerve to touch my baby. Tell your father to ruin their business, Julian. Dad laughed and nodded. I walked away, but after a few steps a voice called out behind me. Julian, don't work too hard. It was Caleb, a drop of honey in a glass of bitter lemon juice. The sweetness slowly spread through me. Later, Dad brought a fruit platter into the study. Looking at the jagged edges, I knew Caleb had sliced it. Julian, Dad said after we discussed work for a bit. Can you talk to Caleb about coming into the office? He listens to you. He's 19, Julian. In families like ours, kids start learning the ropes at 15. He's still out there racing cars and fighting. He needs to grow up. Dad's voice was full of indulgence, even while complaining. Yeah, kids in families like ours. I started at 15. The year Caleb came back, they were supposed to announce me as the heir. That plan was shelved immediately. Caleb was smart, but he used his charm to dodge every corporate responsibility. My parents let him. I went quiet for a long time. Dad put a hand on my shoulder. He can't hide behind you forever. Do you understand what I'm saying? Help him. Light from the window made it hard to see Dad's expression. Suddenly the words of the kid Caleb had beaten up echoed in my head. The adopted brother has stripped the estate clean. Did my parents see the video? Did they think I was trying to keep Caleb out of the business to secure my own power? Was this a test, or a warning? I never wanted to steal anything. I just wanted to be good enough to stay. I'll talk to him, I said. I pushed open my bedroom door and Caleb was waiting for me holding a tube of ointment. Julian, put this on for me. Didn't Mom do it? I don't want Mom, I want you. I gently applied the cream to his bruised jaw. He stared at me, his thick lashes fluttering. His eyes were wide and full of an unsettling dependency. There, done. It's not done, it still hurts. Blow on it. I blew on the bruise. Better. His gaze dropped to my lips and a faint flush crept up his neck. Yeah, better. Your shirt off. He froze. What? I need to see if you have other bruises. Oh, he slowly pulled his t-shirt over his head, revealing skin as white as marble. I checked him over, no other marks. I sighed in relief. Caleb stood there shirtless, his voice suddenly husky. Julian, are you done looking? He had grown so much. When he first came home he was scrawny. Now he was taller than me with broad shoulders and the lean muscle of an athlete. He wasn't a little boy anymore, so why was he still so clingy? Before I could say anything he wrapped his arms around me, burying his face in my neck. Julian, I patted his back. Caleb, come to the office with me this weekend. Start learning. He stiffened. No way, I'm going racing with friends. Then Monday. I have class. You have a break next week. Julian, he whined, if you don't go you're sleeping in your own room starting tonight. I'll have the maid set it up. No 19-year-old sleeps with his brother. It was only because Caleb claimed he had night terrors from his time on the streets I always gave in. Not this time. I made a move to walk out. Julian, he chased after me looking panicked. Fine, I'll go, just don't make me sleep alone. I woke up the next morning locked in Caleb's arms. He had gotten rid of the twin beds months ago, replacing them with a single king-sized bed. He claimed he saw a ghost. He kissed my forehead. Morning, Julian, your turn. Morning kiss was another one of his rules. If I didn't kiss him back, he'd find a way to trap me until I did. I pecked his forehead. He jumped out of bed like a caffeinated puppy, laying out my suit, my tie, even my socks. He ran to the bathroom, then to the kitchen. Julian, they made those dumplings you like. I'm checking on them. By the time I got to the bathroom, my toothbrush was prepped with toothpaste. My morning water was sitting at the perfect temperature on the nightstand. I couldn't have asked for a better brother. If he was clingy, so be it. Being needed made me feel safe. Caleb came to the office, but within days he started looking for exits. He was never at his desk. Today a meeting was about to start and he was gone again. On his desk was the folder I gave him. It was untouched except for a drawing of a pig on the cover. Dad's eyes were cold. Where is he? Maybe the restroom, I lied. He's been working hard. Julian, stop it. Is he here to work or play? The whole office was watching. Dad slammed a file onto the desk. Find him. If you don't bring him back, don't bother coming home tonight. I felt like I was being shredded in a meat grinder. Caleb was mad at me for not doing his work for him, and Dad was mad at me for spoiling him. I called Caleb, no answer. He never ignored my calls. I searched everywhere, his favorite haunts, the racing tracks, the high-rise rooftops. Finally, after hours, I found him at a hidden basketball court in a rough part of town. He was with his friends, drinking water and wiping his face with his shirt. He looked cold, annoyed. Who cares? Caleb's voice rang out, sharp and biting. If he tries to control me, I'll just run away, I'll rebel. He's not my real brother anyway, no blood relation. All this Harrison crap belongs to me, everything. Froze in the shadows. My lungs felt like they were filled with sand. I had climbed 20 flights of stairs today thinking he was stuck in an elevator. I had run through back alleys for an hour to find this court, and he was saying I had no right to care. My legs gave out. The heat of the afternoon sun felt like ice against my skin. I slid down against the brick wall, hidden from view. When I finally got back, I saw Mom. Mom, I whispered, and then the world turned into static. I dreamt of being 6 years old, standing in a line at the orphanage, waiting to be picked. A lady told us, you don't have the right to be loved naturally. You have to work for it, be good, or nobody will want you. I had spent my whole life being good. I excelled in school. I was the perfect son. I lied to Caleb about the candy because I needed him to like me. He needed to be needed, but if Dad was disappointed and Caleb resented me, would Mom still want me? I wasn't hers. If I wasn't a brother, what was I? A trespasser? I woke up to Caleb's red eyes. Julian, you're awake. Parents fussing, Caleb apologizing. I'm sorry, I forgot my phone was on silent. I didn't mean to scare you. It felt like a dream, but things shifted. I wasn't allowed back at the office. Dad said rest. Caleb started going to meetings with Dad. They stayed in the study together late into the night. I stood outside the cracked door once. Mom was feeding Caleb fruit. Dad was showing him a business plan. Caleb was focused, sharp. He was naturally brilliant. He didn't need me to teach him anymore. Mom told me to go rest when I tried to help with the garden. Dad stopped talking business at breakfast. Caleb forgot to ask for a morning kiss. I returned to the office, but my projects had been reassigned. My assistant told me, the CEO said you should go home early today, Mr. Harrison. I saw Caleb in his new office. Need help with that? I asked, pointing to a file. He flinched and pulled it away. No thanks, Julian, I'll ask Dad. The 16-year-old Caleb thought I was a genius for solving his math homework. The 19-year-old Caleb thought I was useless. A few old friends dragged me to a bar. I never drank. I didn't want to wake Caleb up with the smell of alcohol. But tonight I downed 3 shots in a row. My friend Logan grabbed my glass. Julian, stop. This stuff is lethal. Another friend, Sealers, shrugged. Let him. He's been wound too tight for years. Drink up, buddy. I'll get you home. Sealers was like me. He'd been the heir of a wealthy family until a DNA test proved he was switched at birth. He left with nothing but his dignity. Now he traveled the world looking happy, but incredibly lonely. Are you happy, Sealers? I slurred. He finished his drink. Sure, I had a great fling in Seattle last month. He wasn't happy, he was untethered, and soon I would be too. When Caleb didn't need me, when the Harrisons were done with their placeholder, I'd be out. When I leave, I'll go with you, I laughed bitterly. Maybe I'll find a great fling too. Suddenly my wrist was gripped so hard it bruised. My drink spilled. Caleb was standing there, his face dark with rage. Where are you going? With whom? What fling? Who the hell are you? Logan snapped at Caleb. Caleb glared at them. I'm his family. He grabbed my hand and downed 4 shots of the strongest whiskey on the table. We're done here. Let's go, Julian. He threw me onto my bed. I covered my face with my arm. I didn't want to go to Seattle. I just wanted a home. Why did Caleb have to grow up? He pulled my arm away. Julian, are you crying? He tried to wipe my tears, but I fought him. I was dizzy, nauseous. You're mean, Caleb. How am I mean? His voice was dangerously low. You won't let me touch your face. He paused, then took my hand and pressed it against his cheek. Fine, touch it. Then he started unbuttoning my shirt. What are you doing? You're a mess. I'm cleaning you up so you can sleep. Relax. I wasn't that easy. I want my morning kiss. You missed it today and yesterday. He froze. He looked like he was struggling. Not now, Julian. Fine, I hate you then. Say that. He leaned down and kissed me. Hard, twice, as he wiped my chest with a warm towel. His skin felt burning hot. His leg kept rubbing against mine. I reached out to push him away, but he growled. Don't move. I turned away, burying my face in the pillow. I started sobbing. Caleb had never raised his voice at me before. He flipped me over, sounding like he was at a breaking point. What now? You're the one talking about leaving. You're the one talking about flings with Sealers. I should be the one crying. He pinched my chin. Who told you to leave? Which friend is tempting you? Give me your phone. I'm blocking all of them. You don't want me, I yelled back. You told your friends I was annoying. You said you'd rebel if I tried to control you. You said I'm not your brother. Caleb's eyes widened. You heard that. I heard everything. I know the Harrisons belong to you. I don't want the money, but I thought I was your brother. Why can't I just be your brother? Caleb hovered over me, sweat dripping from his hair onto my face. The air was thick with the smell of whiskey and something much more primal. You really want to be my brother that badly? He whispered. I nodded frantically. Yes, please. His lips slammed onto mine. This wasn't a morning kiss. It was an invasion. He bit my lip, his tongue forcing its way in. If you're my brother, this is the only kind of brother I'll accept, he rasped. He kissed a path down to my collarbone, his breath hot and frantic. My mind went blank. Caleb liked me. No, Caleb desired me. It was insane. A sharp pain shot through my neck. He was biting, marking me. His hand slid under my waistband. I finally realized what was happening. I tried to push him, my palm hovering over his face to slap him. He leaned into it. Go ahead, hit me. Can you do it, Julian? He looked pitiful, like that boy I found in the foster center. I couldn't do it. He licked my palm and I shivered, rolling away. You're drunk. Stop. He tackled me from behind. You're not escaping. You said you'd do anything to be my brother. Everything I own is yours, Julian, but you are mine. I was weak, clumsy from the alcohol. Caleb was a man now and he was possessed. He pinned my wrists above my head, tying them together with his silk tie. Caleb, stop, be reasonable. I don't believe you. You'll run, you'll go to Sealer's. He kicked my legs apart. My heart pounded against my ribs as he dragged me into a night of terrifying, beautiful ruin. Every time I tried to pull away, he pulled me closer to the fire. By the time the last tear was kissed away, he whispered into my ear, Julian, I love you. Every bone in my body ached the next morning. It wasn't a dream. Caleb was sleeping soundly, a satisfied smirk on his lips. His back was covered in scratches I had apparently given him. My wrists were ringed with purple bruises from the tie. God, it was over. Everything was ruined. I tried to sneak out of bed, but I fell, my knees hitting the floor with a loud thud. The bedroom door was locked. I scrambled for my clothes, not even stopping to do up the buttons. I sprinted for the stairs. It was dawn. The house was quiet. I just needed to think. I was halfway down the grand staircase when a scream erupted from above. Julian, he's gone. He ran away. Caleb's voice was loud enough to wake the dead. Doors flew open. Caleb, where is Julian? Mom's voice. He ran. He left me. I tried to crouch, moving one step at a time. Almost there. Good morning, Julian. Why are you on the floor? The laundry maid asked, holding a basket. My heart hit the floor. The footsteps behind me were lightening fast. Silence fell. I looked up. My parents and Caleb were all staring at me from the landing. The shirt was hanging off my shoulder. My lips were swollen and the hickeys on my neck were bright red. The bruised rings on my wrists were unmistakable. Mom looked at Caleb. Did you do this? Caleb's eyes welled up. He nodded. Before he could speak, Mom slapped him across the face. He is your brother. He's not my blood brother. Caleb yelled back. Mom was shaking with rage. She grabbed a decorative cane from the hallway and started hitting him. How dare you? You couldn't help it. I ran up and shielded him. The cane hit my arm, a searing line of pain. Mom, stop, please. I dragged Caleb back into our room and grabbed the ointment. Caleb, let me see. Does it hurt? He had several welts on his back. I blew on them as I applied the cream. You idiot. Why didn't you dodge? Why did you scream like that? Caleb started sobbing. Julian, it hurts. Heart hurts. He grabbed my hand. I'm sorry, I didn't want to hurt you. I couldn't lose you. In the study I prepared to kneel, but Mom caught me in a hug. She was crying. So sorry, Julian. I saw him clinging to you, but I thought it was just trauma. I didn't know he was. I didn't know he did this to you. She looked at me, her eyes pleading. Please, don't call the police. It would destroy him. I'll send him away. I'll send him to London, to Switzerland. I'll break his legs myself if I have to. Just don't let him go to jail. I froze. You're sending him away, not me. Mom looked shocked. He's the one who committed the crime. Why would I send you away? You're my son. She touched my face. Do you think I'd discard you because he's blood? Julian, since when did you start thinking like that? I couldn't answer. I named you Julian because of the word Jovian. I wanted you to be majestic, to rise above the currents. You aren't a placeholder. You are my Julian. I fell to my knees and hugged her waist. All the fear of the last 16 years poured out in tears. I don't want to call the police, I whispered. And don't send him away. Mom paused. Then, I leave it to you. You two will solve this. We will. I walked back to our room. Caleb was still on his knees, his head down. I looked at him and realized my feelings were a mess. Did I hate what he did? Yes. But did I hate him? I recalled all the nights we slept together, all the morning kisses I never truly rejected. Every time I chose his favorite food over mine. I had spent my life obsessing over his needs. I was as addicted to being his brother as he was to having me. I reached out my hand. Get up, Caleb, stop crying. Caleb looked up, his face filled with hope. Julian, you said you'd love me forever. Do you remember? I remember everything, every word. I wasn't a good person. I was a boy who grew up without roots, and I had finally found someone who would rather burn the world down than let me go. It was toxic, it was sick, but it was mine. I'm yours, Caleb, just don't ever throw me away. Caleb's POV, I knew he didn't remember me the moment he answered that question years ago. But I didn't care. The first time I saw him, he was at the foster center. He was talking to a kid who had a runny nose and he didn't look disgusted. He looked like an angel. The second time I fell in front of him, I was covered in dirt. Other kids had pushed me. Julian didn't flinch. He cleaned my knees and gave me 6 pieces of candy. These are just for you, he whispered. Be a good boy, I'll come back. I kept the wrappers. Even after they faded, I kept them in a tin box. He became my brother and it was a dream. But then I heard him talking about sealers, about flings, about leaving. My dream was turning into a nightmare, so I took what I wanted. I mark him every night now so he never forgets who he belongs to. The end.